and you're taking the absolute piss out of this great sport.
Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host with the most, Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps and captain of all things nonsensical, Patty Pitts, back in the Yard of Streams for another edition of Pitts and Sarah's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. Yeah. And it's not just me, Patty P, here in the Art of Streams. I'm joined, as always, by the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Oh, hello. Sorry, you cut out there. I'm having
hello.
weird internet issues lately.
Me?
Weird internet. No, just in general. Like my house today, or this morning, I mean, when I was leaving for work, the Wi-Fi just went down, and my mom and I are like, all right, deuces, we got work. So Dad had to fix that. Then last night you bopped out of the stream, kicked out of the stream there. So weird, obviously.
Yeah.
So weird shit going on. There's no current wrestling going on as we speak. We have to wait another, give or take 50 minutes before AEW goes live on Max and cable TBS. And I got the Nonsense Wrestling Federation going on in front of me, Sarah. We'll figure out a way to incorporate that into the show. We will. But as I introduce the show and kick things off, we have the Good Brothers taking on the Tongans. All right, Sarah. So they may not be part of WWE. They were released, but that's where they come here. But yeah, a lot of good week of wrestling. I'm sorry, I just don't have the energy today. Sarah's on it. I just it's long days, I'm also just, when you sit in traffic and you're getting tired, not because you sit in traffic, get tired. It's very annoying. That's kind of what it felt like. I mean, when you sit in traffic for, I think it was an hour 10 today. It's insane. Come home from work. What's the longest amount of time you sat in traffic for?
I honestly don't know. I don't think it's anywhere near that.
Really?
No, because I don't go into the city.
No, ever in your life. No, I'm not just saying recently.
I don't go into the city. So I don't know, maybe a half hour. And that was like a couple of years ago when we were driving to New Mexico. So
we're doing in New Mexico.
We were meeting somebody halfway between Colorado and Arizona, so they could adopt a dog.
Oh, nice. Yeah, dude, that's the other my brother's dog. They got him from a place upstate New York. It was like a 6-hour drive the guy made, and they did it in the same night. Crazy. The longest I've ever been in traffic was, I'm pretty sure, 3 hours. Traffic, not driving. When I was wicked young though, coming home from New Hampshire, some snowstorm, whatever. It was the type of traffic where people were getting out of their cars and just walking around, going up to each other. I remember vividly.
That kind of
was
scare
the
me.
Weirdest. It was weird. I don't have a lot of memories from it, but I remember just sitting in the car and just not understanding why we weren't going. Because I was what, 5, 6 years old? You have no idea at that point why anything is happening in the world. So yeah, very nice. A very wild time. It ended up being a 5-hour drive, 5.5-hour drive back, and it was only supposed to be 2.5 max. So
gross.
Traffic sucks. Dealt with it all day. Going to have to deal with it later. Anyways, that's a lemon of mine. I'm wearing the lemon. We're talking rosebuds. Well, also lemons, but mostly rosebuds here on today's Super Show because we got Money in the Bank on Saturday. Before Money in the Bank, we have Worlds Collide on YouTube. Sarah, what do you think of that being on YouTube?
I think it's an easy way for people to be able to watch.
I think it's a good way. I agree. I think it is a smart decision to have it on YouTube because that's where you're gonna have that's where you're gonna get the people who are not familiar with AAA in general or just that Mexican wrestling scene,
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna see guys like Javon Evans and it was Ray Phoenix will be in the match. Excuse me, I'm sorry, just last night. Ray Phoenix, all that. So yeah, I do like the decision, and having 2 shows back to back on Peacock doesn't seem possible. You know what I mean? It definitely
Yeah.
feels like they're going to be utilizing multiple avenues, everyone from their production department to make it happen. So like that, we got Worlds Collide, MLW, BRG, our dude here is competing in a War Chamber match, Sara, on Saturday. So we wish him good luck with that. The Rogue Horsemen are taking on, it's like Matthew Justice, dude from Boom IA. I forget off the top of my head, but good luck to BRG, man. All right. Just get that sweet victory. All right. What else going on this weekend? Did I miss anything? Sarah,
I don't think so.
there's a lot going on. I can't wait to jump in and talk about it. Not many chats here from the peeps yet, but we got to hear from them. I know it's Wednesday. Why are we here on a Wednesday? Well, it's because tomorrow we are going to be over at Stadium Rant, appearing on their wrestling show, Ringside Rant, to give our Money in the Bank predictions and just talk about the nonsense that is going on around the Wrestleverse with our friends Professor Bernard, Shake, and King Willie. We have Trick Willie and King Willie. So go hang with them. Bernard is in the chat, was popping. See you tomorrow as I plug the show. David 1, David 2. Is it Teagle? Aaron? I don't know. I just want to call you Tingle. I know there's no N in there, so weird. Very Santino Morella of me. But he wishes you, Sara, a happy Wednesday.
Thank you.
And how are we doing? How are you guys been? Tired, man.
Mm-hmm.
Work sucks. Not only it's not work. I'm gonna take that back. It's not just work, but I've started to get into more of a routine and not just coming home, sitting in front of the TV. Oh, time to talk about wrestling or get ready to talk about wrestling. And then we do it, and then we go to bed and rinse, cycle, repeat. I go to work, you go to the gym, you come home. I am helping my parents more around the house because they are a little bit older. We're opening up the pool. So I had to do that. I have to help my dad with the phone. I am so sick. I am so fucking sick, Sara, of passwords. I'm so done with them. Apple IDs. It's all just so mentally draining. And I think that's what I'm still recovering from. Because as I mentioned last night, actually I'm changing my lemon because we're going to talk about it, and I'm just going to talk. But I had a certain thing spoiled last night because I did not get to sit down until 9:45 to watch NXT. So, yeah. But we're good otherwise. Like, things are fine. It's just like, I don't mean to sound draggy, but when you get into a routine, it's just tiring at first. You know what I mean? Like, it's all good. It's all great things that are happening, but you got to go through pain to get the joy. Am I right, Sara?
Mm-hmm.
Come on around 8:30, 8:40. I thought it was 7:30 was the show. Whatever. You hit me up in the chat and we'll figure it out. Hi, Nathaniel. What was that?
I was like, let's go.
Okay, sorry. I'm just you know what, Sara? I'm gonna stop rolling.
Be a lemon. Be a rosebud.
Don't be a lemon, be a rosebud. Favorite and least favorite things of the week. Sara, start with your favorite thing because I gotta stop rambling here.
I don't really have any rosebuds, if we're being honest.
What?
Yeah. So the only thing that I was gonna say is, well, just because some of the things that I could have used, I guess we're already talking about. So, Kit Wilson was on Speed this week, WWE Speed.
There you go.
So that was exciting because, despite how great we've been talking, the SmackDown tag team division has been, Pretty Deadly have been noticeably left off and left out. So I'm glad to see they still exist. I don't really understand why they're having them split or whatever at this point. Like, why is Kit going after the Speed title? I don't know. But I don't know. I would like to think that maybe we'll see him on TV soon, because I don't know. I feel like right now the SmackDown tag team division is good. Obviously, they're really good, but they really only have like one heel group, which is DIY. And the others are all like, we like them, but like it depends on when they go against each other. It's like they don't really have, I don't know, that like Pretty Deadly spark that could very easily just be like in there right now.
They don't have a flair, is what you're saying. They
Yeah,
don't have a
and so-
flair to them.
And
Yeah.
it's like, I would love for them to be like, okay, see, it's not hard to put another tag team into the mix, because it's going to get old seeing all of this happening between the Street Profits, DIY, and Faxium. If it's just going to be those three, it's like there's only so many times that we can see a great match between them. Like, throw other tag teams in there, which I know we're seeing the Wyatt Six, but I would like to see Pretty Deadly in there. And you know, I mean, it's great that Kit has this opportunity, I guess, but yeah, that was the only thing that I was like, this is exciting, you know?
This is, you're going to love what I'm going to hear. Aren't you happy, though, that the Wyatt Six are not coming after your
Yeah.
Yes Boys?
Yeah.
So maybe they're the smart ones who have found the right hiding spot for the
I
Wyatt
guess.
Six.
Yeah.
It's one way to look at it. It just, to me, like, they're going to do single stuff. I am always in the brain where if they are not on TV, they're doing something for the company, promotion wise or media wise or something. So they're not totally not being utilized, but they're not here to be, talkers on a mic, just talkers. They're wrestlers. So it is frustrating to me. I wouldn't be too worried, because maybe, Sarah, they're still in production for Pretty Deadly, the musical.
I'm still waiting for that.
I'm waiting. You think I'm joking? I actually want to see that thing. That thing looks sick. My Rosebud, I'm gonna make it quick because more is Mike Santana in NXT. I watched that man be part of the Jericho Appreciation. No, not that one, but he was with Jericho in AEW with one of the groups, and I did not really see his, move. I didn't see really what he was all about during that. He was always just a side guy, and he was never the highlight of whatever was going on between factions. So being introduced to him through NXT, which is crazy that I would ever see him in WWE. He and Trick had a hell of a match last night, and he's very, not only like the ring stuff I was impressed with, okay, like he can go, but on the mic he speaks with so much passion, and he's someone that you want to get behind. I want to see him do more with and get that next level, I mean, in TNA, and eventually become the TNA champion. And that seems like what they're doing with this whole feud. So I'm for it. And the fact we saw AJ Francis return home to NXT. That was great too. Elijah also returned last night. That was great. So a lot of good shit happening down in Orlando. Sarah, is your lemon something we're going to be talking about?
No,
It's not.
I don't believe so.
Floor is yours. Floor is yours.
So mine's nothing like super specific. I think it's just kind of the general vibe of WWE right now and the fans' reaction to it. It just feels very overwhelmingly negative. And I'm not saying that that the feeling isn't warranted. You know, like I totally get it because there are things that are happening that I don't like, and I feel like TKO is definitely inserting themselves into a lot of these decisions, and it's obvious to the fans that like that's what's happening, and what they're doing is not for the betterment of the company or the fans or whatever. It's purely just like BS because there's this rumor that they got rid of like R-Truth and blah blah blah. It's because budget cuts. What budget cuts? You've been proclaiming every single month that you're making record money. What budget cut do you need to make? Like that is a BS thing, And so it's just like this overwhelming negativity, even to the point of who you've already mentioned, the Good Brothers talking, and they said it's not WWE anymore, it's TKO. Like that's how they view it. And I know that they might have some bitterness in them because they were released and it was when Anderson was injured, so not a great look, but like they're not wrong. Like everybody, all the fans that were responding to the story were like, they're not lying. Like that's just the general feeling that a lot of fans have right now. And it's just unfortunate because you want to just be able to enjoy what you're watching and what's coming up. But then when there's just so much negativity because of what's happening in between shows and stuff, it just makes it really not fun at all.
It does suck. It sucks when, and I agree with that. It's being run more like a corporate business, which is what we have not really seen in wrestling ever. And the truth news really put everyone on the back, like put everyone on their heels, even the intern people on the roster. It's a business at the end of the day, which sucks. And yeah, you're not wrong what you're saying. But
Yeah.
it just sucks. It's really all I have from this is that it just sucks when this shit happens.
Yeah.
My lemon is actually going to be part of that, the releases. So I'll just save my true feelings for that. A lemon just to segue into the Wrestleverse. And it was when I sat down and I signed off on the show saying going to watch NXT. And I sit down to watch it and I get called up to help. An hour later, I sit down and you send the Mariah May debut to me thinking like I saw it like holy shit, like we just talked about it.
I saw it super late.
I was just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
I saw it 45 minutes after it happened because we were watching the 2022 Rumble, I think.
Okay.
I don't remember. It was the one that Rhonda and Brock won, so I think that's 2022.
It's 22.
Yeah. So we were watching that and like so I wasn't paying attention at all. And then I saw that and it was like 45 minutes ago and I was like, oh shit. I was like, I haven't heard from Pat, so I'm just going to send it to him so that it's like a conversation starter. Yeah. And then you were like, oh, that was a spoiler. And I was like, oh, okay.
That's why I thought
I was good.
No, you like that's the thing. I read that and all of my anger was just like, when it just want to scream. Like I just wanted to let it out. And I'm like, wait, what time is it? Like, no idea. You're just like what I say when I left the StreamYard was that I was gonna go watch it and plan to. Had it paused.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just like timing, like just life. It sucks. Sometimes timing just sucks. Mm-hmm. And that's what it was. It's why I'm basically wearing a lemon because I kind of feel like a lemon today.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like one, Sarah. It's kind of tough. Because you know me, I'm not trying to be a lemon. I'm usually leading the rosebuds. But just today, we're right down the middle. But that's all right because even though we're a little down, a little just exhausted, we're going to hop in that jet and we're going to go across the Wrestleverse. Starting with, obviously, I think there's the most obvious news ever after the most breaking news that happened last night. Mariah May has debuted in NXT, debuting during the women's segment where JC Jane gives her speech about what it means for her to be champion. The entire women's division comes out, stakes their claim of why they should be the next challenger to JC Jane's title. Brawl ensues, obviously. Lights go out. A little bit of me thought it was going to be Dark State, not going to lie.
Mhm.
And then the spotlight travels up to Mariah May, Performance Center.
Or
Goes
Mariah
loony.
May. Somebody that looks like Mariah May, but apparently
Somebody
will
looks
not
like,
be
yeah.
made. She will not be named Mariah May.
Jennifer June.
Yeah, somebody. It was her evil twin. Yeah.
And then she goes off and says, NXT just got glamorous, and you can call me the next NXT Women's Champion. Sarah, how awesome is it?
I was shocked because I didn't think it was going to happen that quickly, but I feel like we should have known better because that's exactly what happened with Ricky Starks. Or Ricky Saints now. But it's exactly the same thing. It was like news broke that he was removed from the site, and it was like a day later or hours later that he was on NXT. Obviously, it took a little bit longer with Mariah because I think that she was removed like over the weekend and she then debuted on Tuesday. But I don't know. I'm excited. I feel like it makes more sense why they called up Julia, Stephanie, and Roxanne, because they might have already known that they were going to be bringing in Mariah. It also makes sense why they put the title on JC, other than wanting to give her an opportunity to be that girl in NXT. I think she's a good first opponent. You assume that Mariah will be going up against, instead of throwing her like straight to like, Stephanie or Julia. I mean, she's worked with Julia, but like if we're talking about in the hierarchy of WWE, like that's throwing her straight to like the top immediately. But I do think she will have a similar path to them. I don't anticipate she'll be in NXT for very long, but I do think she'll become champion, and then we'll see her move to the main roster. And I'm excited because she's different than the bunch of recent hirings that the company has done for women. Like she might be that stereotypical looking girl for most people, but WWE has not been bringing those types of girls in recently.
No, this is definitely different. She gives off like it's legally blonde Tiffany Stratton. It's cut from the same cloth, but two very different people.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think also there's the factor of knowing that like this was her dream. That is really cool to see when this kind of thing happens, because I have been a part of wrestling Twitter. I mean, I took a break, but since like 2008, and throughout that time, like I knew of Cora, aka Brie, before she was a wrestler. I knew about Mariah before she was a wrestler. I knew about Deonna Purrazzo before she was a wrestler. So like seeing another girl that I knew about before she was a wrestler now being in WWE is really cool. So I hope that they do right by her, because I think that she could be a really good addition to the women's roster.
I think she'll be a fantastic addition. She's going to be someone that can help elevate the more green talent, those who are on the cusp of being top dogs in the division. People like Lash Legend, Kalani Jordan, Thea Hale, girls like that, or even that Lainey Reed, the first girl to pop up during the JC Jane proclamation or speech, whatever, promo. Everyone is talking about why she is not on the main roster yet. It's complaining that her going straight from AEW to NXT is a downgrade. And you kind of, it's not. It's really not. Okay, it's not a downgrade. WWE operates on a completely different level than every other wrestling company. And by that, I mean, they take things, they do everything right. Like they just, whatever. NXT is a good thing for Mariah to do. Look what happened with Stephanie McCoy, Julia, for it was more recent. It's a little bit of a taste of the WWE before you get thrown into the fire.
Can I also say, I think part of the reason why, other than the AEW tribalists that are just upset because another one jumped ship, it's rich of them to say it's a downgrade when NXT beats Dynamite every week.
Oh yeah.
How can you say it's a downgrade when she's being seen by way more people? You know what I mean? NXT also used to be almost basically considered superior to Raw and SmackDown, where it wasn't that long ago.
No, Black and Gold was
Yeah.
Black and Gold is I have the theory that Black and Gold was basically the precursor of AEW.
Well, and AEW 2.0, I know they don't refer to it as that anymore, but it's come a long way from that. So like being in NXT right now is not embarrassing. It's not a downgrade. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, it's better for her to get acclimated, as you said. It's the same thing that they did with Stephanie, with Jordan, with Julia. Like, they want to get them introduced to WWE fans and be over and like acclimated and have that built-in fan base before they get brought to the main roster, because then it's a lot more exciting when they do debut on Raw or SmackDown. Like, Stephanie and Julia did not need to be in NXT, but did it help them? Yeah. I mean, look at Stephanie's reception on Raw. You could say Jordan Grace didn't either, because that pop she got when she was in the Rumble, it was like, she doesn't need to be in NXT, but she went. So it's like, I don't see the problem at all. And Mariah is so young. It's not wasting any time.
That's it, and that's a big thing. Not like it's a big thing that people really forget about is how young these wrestlers are.
Mm-hmm.
They are only in their 20s, where you have people in the main roster who are in their 40s.
Yeah, she's 26.
There's an age
Like-
and experience gap in there, and it's okay. That means they have so much time left. You're talking about, Roxanne should have absolutely been on the main roster a year ago. But
She's 23 years
She's
old.
freaking 23 years old.
Yeah.
You give her 10 more years, she's 33 on the main roster. What else is there left for her to do?
Well, and this gives them time also to like properly prepare for her to be on the main roster, because like, look at what happened with Jade. Like, when Jade
Correct.
first came in, like they teased her in NXT, but then they didn't put her in NXT. Then they have her come up to the main roster, but they had like nothing ready for her. There was like nothing for her to do. So it was just like, Jade's here, and it was basically like, Jade's here so we can see her entrance. That was what it was. So I would prefer that Mariah can go down and thrive in NXT and build a name for herself for in front of WWE crowds. And then when she is able to debut on Raw or SmackDown, it's like a way bigger deal.
Agreed. I agree 1,000%.
It's the same thing they're doing with Ricky Saints.
Yes.
That pop of him debuting on Raw or SmackDown would not have been anywhere near the same as it was when he was in NXT, when he just showed up. It just wouldn't. So but what do I know? I don't know.
No, like he needs to go through the system. You can't just throw someone onto the main roster right off the bat. Like, WWE is a completely different animal.
You want to build them up for success. Like, you want to set that foundation for them and give them the best chance to succeed, rather than maybe throwing them into the piranha pond too early and then they flop. Like, that's not fair.
No.
And this is the thing, when they sign with the company, they are well aware that they will not be debuting on the main roster yet. So they signed on the dotted line knowing they were going to NXT first. So for people saying like, oh, it's a downgrade or this or that, would you say that to them? Because they, like I said, they signed on that line knowing that was what they were going to be doing. And if that's not what they wanted to do, then they probably wouldn't be there. So I just think it's disrespectful to say that. Like, and like I said, NXT does better than Dynamite consistently. So I don't see that as a downgrade. If anything, it's an upgrade.
WWE's true developmental goes up against AEW Dynamite. on like YouTube to Max, whatever. I would like to see those numbers tomorrow. I'm gonna put that. I want to see those numbers tomorrow. What does better? Obviously, Dynamite should, but does it? And if it does, by how
Consistently,
much?
it doesn't. Yeah.
Evolve though. I want to see Evolve. I'm not. I want to
Oh,
see
that.
that.
Oh, okay.
Like I want to see views on YouTube compared to whatever. Like, that's where my mind. Like that's the real competition, because that you want to get the WWE. Like the WWE fans. You don't want to turn them into AEW fans by watching the product. You want to turn them into wrestling fans.
Mm-hmm.
So are you
That's
doing
not
that,
allowed
or-
anymore, apparently, though.
No, it's not. We're a real dying breed, Sarah.
Well,
feels
and
like,
the
if you
thing
go
is, too,
on
I
that.
don't like this idea that, like, I mean, outside of, you have to be loyal to one company or the other. Like, you can't intermingle liking both, I also hate the idea of when you say you're just a fan of professional wrestling. And let's say it's like me, right? Like, I just like professional wrestling, but then someone finds out that I watch solely WWE. That somehow discredits me. They're like, you're not a fan of professional wrestling because all you do is watch WWE. Like, you have to watch AEW and New Japan and AAA. It's like, what are we? You can't gatekeep like that. You know what I mean? Like, some of the best wrestlers have gone through WWE. Sure, we haven't seen Osprey or Omega or whoever in WWE, but it's like,
the Young Bucks.
I know who they are. I've
Like,
seen their matches.
Well, that's the thing. There's
Like,
not enough hours in a day, Sarah,
No.
for everyone to be a wrestling fan the way that the internet thinks that you should.
Well,
it's not freaking
because
possible.
when you're an adult and you have a job, sometimes you don't want to then spend the hours that you do have to do nothing, sitting there watching wrestling just to make sure that people online believe that you are like an
Exactly.
actual fan. Like, no, I just want to watch it and enjoy it. I don't need to be like, hey guys, I watched 18 hours of wrestling this week. Does that make me a good fan? Like,
Yeah.
no.
You watch it because you love it. That's the thing. That's what makes someone a wrestling fan compared to a WWE or AEW or whatever fan. This is what I'm not a fan of. All right, this was my real lemon of the week. Sarah, you are spared. You did not truly. You were not. Your contributions was not the worst thing that happened in wrestling this week. The worst thing actually was R-Truth being released along with Carlito and more recently Valhalla Sarah Logan. This news broke on Friday, I'm pretty sure.
No, because R-Truth was on SmackDown.
So was it Sunday or?
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, because he was on SmackDown talking about Solo's husky son.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, so it was Sunday because I remember. Yeah. Okay. So my days are all.
Can I take your
up.
husky son to the ring?
I'm
Also,
gonna miss them.
can I do a sidebar?
Sure.
Everyone finally waking up to Solo Sikoa being hilarious. Get to the back of the line.
I know you're on that train.
Dude.
He's so good. He's so funny. His one-liners are really good.
They're like kind of letting him finally tap in to that side of him. And I think that's what we've been saying for a while, that like him trying to basically mimic Roman just wasn't working. And it's because like he's not that kind of guy.
Roman.
So it's like him being able to show this funny side to him. I'm like, yes, please. And then all these people being like, Solo is hilarious. Oh my God. I'm like, go to the back of the line, brother. That man has been my tribal chief for 2 years.
No, seriously. I can't. I actually, when you said it, I was like, okay, like that's great.
No, I remember you being like,
wrong.
you are psychotic.
That's what I mean. I'm trying to put that nicely, Sarah. I'm trying to put it nicely. Like I call it like crazy, but you're right. Like, and it makes sense. But the problem is that he's not Roman. He's his own guy, and we're seeing he's his own guy right now. So
anyway, sorry, I just had to say that.
But R-Truth sucks. That sucks. Carlito obviously sucks. We don't see the PS5 in the Judgment Day Clubhouse anymore. Valhalla is the same thing. That just sucks because we haven't seen it on TV for a long time. But R-Truth, I wanted to touch on that mainly because that's the one that is obviously affected every wrestling fan, and specifically every WWE fan
And
over the past
wrestlers.
week. And wrestlers.
They've
No,
been
seriously.
talking about it.
Like, that's
And
crazy.
yeah, like and across like yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone in AEW has said anything, but I know like Nick Nemeth has said stuff and he's in TNA. Like people in NXT, people in WWE, like they are talking about it too. So you understand the gravity of the situation and the impact that R-Truth has made in professional wrestling when it gets that kind of reaction from so many different people and people of different ages and like different companies, you know, like it's very rare when something happens in wrestling when wrestling fans, especially the IWC, collectively come together and agree about something, you know? And so, like, when that actually happens, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. Like, so the fact
really
that
was.
people agreed that it sucks that R-Truth was released, that should tell you something.
Should tell you something that shouldn't happen. And it makes no sense because, like, it just makes no sense. You know, it's something he was already on television doing the Cena feud. It didn't seem like they were not going to utilize him.
Did you see the rumors? There's so many rumors
What
about
are the
this.
rumors?
There are rumors that Cena knew that R-Truth was going to be gone. Like R-Truth knew that they weren't renewing his contract like much sooner than when he announced it. And that was part of the reason why Cena versus Truth happened, because Cena wanted to have like the like last hurrah with Truth before he left. There's rumors that he was lowballed on a contract.
I saw that rumor.
But see, these are rumors, and I'm saying rumors because there has not been any like legitimate source coming out and saying all of this, because this is stuff that we could all come up with on our own. You know what I mean?
I could think of that if you gave me 10 minutes.
Yeah, so that's the thing is like all of these rumors are not helping the situation, because the reality is R-Truth is not going to be with WWE for, you know, after his contract expires, because I don't know when it expires. I know Carlitos is in like 2 weeks, but it sucks. And I think, like I said earlier, it's like it doesn't look like there's any reason for it. I mean, I hate that Carlito was released, but if we're in Valhalla, but if we're looking at those two compared to R-Truth, them being released makes more sense than R-Truth, simply because they haven't done shit with Carlito since they brought him back. You know, he got that crazy pop at in Puerto Rico, and then they've done nothing with him. Valhalla, they had her around, but then she got pregnant, and she's basically been gone since she got pregnant. So it's like it doesn't surprise me that they would not renew her contract, because I don't know if she's still pregnant or what, but you know, we've seen that they did the exact same thing with Carmella, so that doesn't surprise me. But R-Truth has been consistently on television for, I mean, months.
Weeks,
at this point.
Months. No, it has been months, at least with some iteration or something.
And some of the best, funniest moments of the last like 2 years involved him. So, you know, and the fact that they just had him as like a comedic relief on SmackDown with Solo, Jacob, and JC, it's like, really? Like that really that's how we're gonna let him go out?
That's our lasting image. I know, it sucks. I've been watching old R-Truth clips on X of him cracking Paul Heyman.
Cracking everybody, dude.
It was everybody. And the one where he announced himself in the WWE Championship tournament, Miz informs him that he's not your Truth, you're not in the tournament. He goes, my bad.
Yeah.
Shakes Roman's hand.
Remember when he was scared of spiders, and that's why he didn't want to be in a ladder match? When
he was
afraid
of spiders, that's what he said.
Yeah, do you remember that? He was saying that's why he couldn't be in a ladder match. He's like, I'm scared of spiders. And you're like, okay.
And then he enters the Royal Rumble with a ladder.
The women's Rumble too.
And then he took Valhalla's spot and got her eliminated. Like,
and that's the thing is moments. like that is stuff that you can't replicate with somebody else. Like, I don't know. And he's still in shape. He can still go. Like, it's not like he's a 53-year-old that looks like, you know, fucking Ric Flair or something. You know what I mean? It's not like
It looks
he's a
better
guy
than
that
Ric Flair did in '02.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like I don't
Yes.
it doesn't make any sense. There's no logical reasoning for it because you can't even argue like, "Oh, well, they're saving money." What?
What do you think of of him going on a Legends deal soon, and that it was just more like we're gonna like nothing for what yada 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 all that BS comes back in a year or so on like a Legends deal, because realistically, how much ring action do we see R-Truth having in the next few years? Because he's 53 years old.
I see. This is the thing. First of all, people are like, "Oh, they Jace let him go. They're gonna bring him back on the Legends deal and have him on like a cheaper contract." That's what they're doing with Braun Strowman. Has that happened yet? So
I mean,
like,
it's a
I
little
don't
bit
believe
more
that.
likely than with Truth and Braun Strowman, though.
But I also don't think that people are considering that maybe R-Truth won't want to sign a Legends deal because he won't want to be restricted. Like maybe he does want to go to TNA so that he can wrestle as often as he wants. Whereas
Legends deal, you can still
but I'm saying, but they might not let him. There's so many people that are under Legends contracts and we never see them. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if that is part of it and he still wants to wrestle, then go on, dude. Go to TNA and wrestle every week if that's what you want to do. It's like, I think that he could come back eventually as like on a Legends deal, but like if he still wants to continue wrestling because he knows that he doesn't have many years left, then let him do that and let him come back on a Legends deal and figure that out, because he could be such a good like backstage person, like once he's like not a wrestler anymore.
Yeah.
So because you could still get that comedic stuff in there. He could be a GM, or something.
GM Truth would be so funny.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be so funny. I see him appearing at Slammiversary. I'm still going with the prediction of he's going to show up at Slammiversary and think he's in WWE, and he's going to go up to Nick Nemeth and say, "Sup, Dolph," or "Sup, Ziggler." And with Elijah, he's going to call him Elias, and he's like, "No, it's not me. I'm Elijah." It's like, "Oh no, I know your brother, Ezekiel."
Mm-hmm.
Just like that would be icing on the cake. Hilarious.
Well, and then TNA could be like, "Hey, can we send Truth to NXT?"
Like, there's so many possibilities that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Just let it happen. This is just quick and reported.
Didn't he just sign a deal not that long ago?
He did, sir. He did.
Okay. It's like people saying Gunther was leaving. I was like, he literally just re-signed a deal in like December.
He's not leaving. AJ Styles is not leaving WWE. He is scheduled for future Raws. And also, there have been multiple interactions between him, Dirty Dom, and the IC title, teasing that there's going to be at least some sort of feud or chase for AJ Styles to be Intercontinental Champion. I'm putting no stock into this. I don't. I people who do, I feel like just want something to bitch about, and I'm putting on my earmuffs when they do. That's what I have from this.
I'm gonna bring this up because I do think that this slightly goes hand in hand with this, which I made a TikTok about this, because Karrion Kross, the update is that his contract is running out in a couple months and he has not been approached about a new contract. And so the only sense that I can make out of people convincing themselves that AJ Styles is leaving or something is because now there's just so much uncertainty surrounding people like a Karrion Kross. And so people are getting themselves worked up over a big name like AJ Styles maybe not being safe. Like, even though you could argue he's in a different echelon than R-Truth, it doesn't feel like people are immune from being released or their contracts not being renewed. And so if there's a potential that their contracts are running up, that we're going to find out like a day before that it's not being renewed. So I think that's part of like what's going on with AJ and then this whole Karrion situation. I don't blame people for being concerned because I think, he's become a fan favorite over the last few months. And a lot of that does have to do with this character that he's become, especially in the wake of the rest of the Final Testament getting released, but then also his social media presence and people realizing like he's hilarious and he's like a super nice guy and he's also super real. Like he doesn't sugarcoat and whatever. So like he's definitely gained a lot of traction because of that. So the idea of like us not seeing that through because his contract is coming up and they haven't talked to him, like it is concerning. It is kind of sad. And all of this is all because of people like R-Truth, Carlito, and Valhalla being released. And it all just goes back to like my lemon of the week where it just like sucks. Like you don't want to get so invested in somebody like a Karrion Kross and then it's like in 2 months you're like, oh, okay, he's gone. Like it's not fun.
No, he is in a contract year. And it seems that the next few weeks are going to be big with him with Sami Zayn and all that and what you're saying. Karrion Kross is bigger than just an on-screen. He uses everything. Like he uses X to further what he's doing on television. You know, he is living the gimmick essentially, and there's so few of that now, and not getting the attention that he deserves. So, I hope it's not the end. I don't think it is. I do think there's plans for him. We don't give Triple H enough credit. We want to bash him for what he's done, but look at what he's also done by listening to the crowd. So.
Well, and I said in the TikTok too, I think that people forget that Cross was one of Triple H's first rehires when he finally took over. So like clearly he likes Cross. You know, even if we're talking about 2-3 years ago, he still likes him. So like there is that foundation because we have to remember too, he was a black and gold era NXT guy.
He's champion.
So it, you know, that works in his favor. He is also younger than Carlito and R-Truth, so that works in his favor. He also has Scarlett with him, which also works in his favor. And they've been having him on screen with some of the top names in the company, like Sami Zayn, like AJ Styles. So like you would like to think that that's all setting that up for him to stay, even if it's just like a 1-year extension or something. I feel like if they give up on him now after the reaction he's getting from fans, the fact that his shirt has consistently been a top seller on the website to the point where fans were able to get it to be a part of the merch stands at Raw, like you can't give up on that right now. You're wasting such a huge opportunity. Even if he doesn't become a main eventer or the next face of your company, you don't need to have a ton of those types of guys, but you can have Karrion Krosses that are entertaining to fans, because if that's what matters most, then what they're saying should matter.
It should, and I think it will. The problem is that fans want immediate gratification for stuff, and with what Karrion Kross is trying to do, he doesn't do immediate payoffs. Everything's long term. Everything's a long-term payoff, long-term storytelling. So you have to follow it. And there is something brewing right now with Sami Zayn.
We should know that though, because Triple H is like that, and so is Bray Wyatt.
Oh, and so, I'm pretty sure Sara that they were friends.
I know.
So.
Yeah, and Bray and Karrion were.
And we're allegedly supposed to work together. So.
Yeah. So hello.
Yeah, why don't you just be patient, guys? Okay.
Yeah.
Just be fucking patient. All right. Do we want to do the other two or hop into money?
Let's do the predictions first.
Predictions first. Yay! Money in the Bank this Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sarah, 4 o'clock your time. Starting off with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Holy shit, I'm not prepared. The bank card. We have the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Off the top of my head, I know that we have Seth Rollins, El Grande Americano, Penta, Solo Sikoa, Andrade, and L.A. Knight.
Jesus Christ. 3 weeks after Money in the Bank, we then have Night of Champions. Like, can we not? We cannot. Oh my God. And then 2 weeks later, we have another Saturday night's main event.
Oh, I don't count that. I don't. That's that.
Oh wait, no, it's not 2 weeks. It's longer than that. Thank God.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't count Saturday's main event as like a
Okay.
PLE. That's a glorified house show.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
sorry,
Anyway,
like that shouldn't be.
so we kind of talked about this when we were talking about Raw and trying to plug the TikTok No Nights Off show, but I've made a couple TikToks about it as well, and I still firmly believe that this is going to be another throwaway year for the men's Money in the Bank. I think that it's got to be Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins is going to cash in on Jey Uso because they've already set this up to make it look like, Jey is going to have issues with Seth and the Bronsons. They've said so many times that Seth needs to be champion. This is a golden opportunity. If they want to legitimize his new group, the best way to do that is to make him champion. I think that he's the only one, if we're really going to say that there's a possibility if he were to win and he cashes in and loses, he's the only one that it wouldn't harm. If LA Knight or Solo Sikoa or Penta won Money in the Bank and then they cash in and they lose, that's so bad. So
no, you can't have Penta lose.
No. And as far as the storylines go right now, it doesn't make sense for any of them to be champion. It doesn't make sense for any of them to cash in on the either champion because it's just not going to happen. And I know that they can hold on to the briefcase for a while, but I don't see the benefit of that for any of them either. So to me, it's Seth Rollins is the guy.
That's the only one I can think of out of that would make sense. A lot of people are saying LA Knight.
That
maybe.
seems okay. No disrespect to LA Knight, but guys, come on. First of all, it's only his third Money in the Bank. I know that seems like a lot, but there's guys that have been in 5 and never won. But as I said before, LA Knight winning Money in the Bank, that means that he's not cashing in anytime soon because he's not going to cash in on John Cena and he's not going to cash in on Jey Uso. So how long do you want him to carry around the briefcase as a prop for? That's all I'm saying. And let's say the next world heavyweight champion is Seth Rollins. Do we really think LA Knight is going to cash in successfully on Seth Rollins? Let's say the next champion after John Cena is Cody Rhodes. Do we really think that LA Knight is going to cash in on Cody Rhodes? No. So I'd rather he just wins the Royal Rumble. I'd rather that.
Yeah. I don't see anyone realistically either in my eyes. To me, it's just more obvious that Seth's going to win. If even with all the hypotheticals that I'm thinking of in my head right now of CM Punk coming in and ruining it, Roman, which that seems very a lot of them are very far-fetched and very fantasy booking.
Well, and they can wouldn't it be better for them to feud with Seth if he were champion?
Oh yes, 100%.
You know,
my question to you is though, if Seth wins, then who does he cash in on?
I said Jey.
Even
he's cashing in on Jey because if they want to get him hated more, he's got to cash in on the biggest baby face. It's Jey.
So
they've already faced each other.
Yeah.
And that match ended in a DQ, correct? That did not end in Seth winning Seth losing. Did that? I don't think that ended. No, that didn't end.
No,
I think that was a DQ.
No, that was who? No,
I forget.
Someone's got a fact.
It might have been Bronson. But anyway, so they have that history, you know what I mean? And I feel like if they really want to ensure that Seth starts to get booed more than being cheered, they've got to have him do something against a guy like Jey Uso who has a cult following, and they will hate anybody that takes that title off him. So to me, it makes sense. Seth does it on Jey. He's not doing it on John Cena. They don't want to move him to SmackDown.
But Gunther is supposed to face Jey.
I know, but why can't Gunther face Seth Rollins?
So when is the cash-in happen?
I'm thinking Monday. I'm still convinced it's going to happen mid-match because Gunther cannot take another pin by Jey Uso. It can't happen. So Seth pins Gunther or Seth pins Jey. Him taking a pin to Seth is not as bothersome as him taking another pin to Jey Uso. Like, it doesn't look as bad because of who Seth Rollins is. Because I don't care who you are, but Seth Rollins is up here. Jey Uso is not. So him losing 2 times in a row to Jey Uso is not a good look.
If you're gonna do that, I want to see Seth do it in an unprecedented way.
Mid-match.
You know, like if we're gonna protect everybody, you know, and Gunther's not gonna get cashed in on by Seth. He's not gonna have his match ruined once again by somebody. And Seth being the revolutionary, the visionary. Why couldn't he cash in on like an attack backstage or something?
He could also cash in at Money in the Bank while Jay is out in his tag match.
There you go. Now you're thinking.
But that would also mean that what happens with Gunther? Does that mean that Gunther then faces Seth Rollins on Raw instead?
Yeah, it's the winner. Yeah, it would be the winner.
Or the triple threat.
This is great. Like, this is the way we need to start thinking as wrestling fans now, is that you can't just go like anything can happen. Anything can happen. Any possibility. Like, how are they going to do it? And that's what makes you want to tune in. Like, that's what I'm interested in. Like, yeah, Seth winning. Yeah, that's great. Like, okay, that's my prediction. Fair. But now the question is, all right, how is he going to? What's he going to do next with it? Because anyone else, there's no real plan there. And even you can't even think of it because it's like any way that you have them do it, it's just going to ultimately hurt them in the end.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think they have to do something interesting because as of right now, there's only 4 matches at Money in the Bank. Last year, there were 5. The year before, there were 7. So there's something, they have to do something
quality over quantity.
Make it interesting, you know? So if that means there's a cash in or what, I don't know. But all I know is I need to see Seth Rollins win and I need to see him cash in successfully on Jey Uso. That's all I need. And for Gunther to still be in the title picture no matter what. That's my dream.
Talk women's Money in the Bank now.
Mm-hmm.
We got Roxanne Perez, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Julia, Naomi, and Raw's newest superstar, Stephanie Vacor. Pulling double duty. This one's a toss-up. See, this one could go anywhere. This is not as straightforward as the men's one. This is where
I
we
am
can get
torn
fun.
between Stephanie and Roxanne. Roxanne, because there's immediate storyline payoff for her to win the briefcase. So like if we're using the same thought process that we are with the men, it feels like it makes the most sense for it to go to Roxanne because of what they're trying to do with the Judgment Day. And that would create absolute chaos within the group if she left Money in the Bank with the briefcase, especially after Liv losing her qualifying match and whatever. But then we also saw them tease Rhea versus Stephanie. Now, what would be a better way to ensure that happens than Stephanie winning Money in the Bank and then they just eventually make Rhea champion again?
Oh, I wouldn't go. Okay.
But you could also have Stephanie lose and she wins the Rumble and Rhea is champion and then that's the match.
But like a lot of people are talking about Naomi.
I know, but I see like I as far as like maybe deserving it because of like the work that she's been doing recently, like I agree 100% Naomi. I just don't really know how that fits into what she's doing with Jade and Bianca right now. Like how does having the briefcase or becoming women's champion really, what does that do? Because there's no title involved in this beef with Jade and Bianca. So like her getting the briefcase or maybe successfully cashing in, what does that do for that story? It doesn't do anything because it wasn't about that. It's about like their friendship and their tag team and like, you know, Jade getting in the way and messing that up. I don't know how the title fits in. I mean, and that's the thing that makes it a little bit more complicated because do we need to be seriously looking at what the current storylines are? Does that really impact who's going to be the winner or not? I don't know, but it seems like it makes the most sense to consider what's happening right now. Because, I mean, when people have cashed in previously, it was because of what the stories were right now. Like Drew McIntyre, he won last year and immediately cashed in that night because he wanted to get back his world heavyweight title. So it's like that is because of the storyline right now. But I don't know.
Then yeah, I agree with it's the men have dominated that regard of who there's going to be one person in there who has said it that it's their mission to become money in the bank winner and then eventually cash in to become champion. With the women, not so much. I don't. There's no easy pick for me. I'm torn between Naomi and Roxanne, honestly. And I'm gonna say Roxanne. I'm just gonna say Roxanne because I like seeing. I would like to see that play. That storyline of her dangling the Money in the Bank briefcase over Liv Morgan's face while she doesn't want her in the group, but Roxanne's helping the group. Like that dynamic is intriguing to me, so I'm into that.
Yeah,
that's where I'm picking it.
And she doesn't have to cash in anytime soon, so
she doesn't. That's the thing. She doesn't. She has 1 year.
It could also be something where, like, because they kind of have hinted at Kairi Sane and Io Sky going after the women's tag titles. It's possible that maybe Roxanne cashes in when they're defending it or something on Io. Like they take out Io and then she cashes in and becomes women's champion. And then it's like Liv is right there to see it happen, And it's like because of Liv, whatever, taking out Io, that set up Roxanne to be successful or something, that adds more drama.
And everyone in Judgment Day has gold except for Finn Balor and JD, but
poor
except the Irishman.
My babies.
That's tough. Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes taking on John Cena and Logan Paul. It's a toss-up too. I have no effing idea. I have no idea where this is going.
Well, because there's really no rhyme or reason for this happening other than like Cody Rhodes being on the card.
Yeah. No, it's really.
I feel like, okay, if we assume that Jey Uso is going to lose the title, then I feel like it's got to be Jey and Cody that win, because it's like, let's give him a win before he loses the title. You know what I mean? But I would like it to be like Cena turns on Logan or something. Like he feels like Logan just like fucked it up his chances of winning this match, and he like turns on him, and then that helps Jey and Cody win or something. Because I feel like it's not a great look for these two champions to be in this match and either one of them losing, even if it is a tag match. Like it's not great. Neither of them are going to take the pin. It feels like the easiest one to take the pin is Logan.
Okay. I'm going to go Cena. I think Cena, and I think they win. I don't know how, but maybe Cena pins Cody again. Like I got your number twice. To me, this screams that Cena, like, this is going to be a dark end to a pay-per-view, and it also plays
this is the main event.
Oh, 100% is. You have both champions. But
it's a tag
if
match.
Cena wins and pins Cody or pins Jay, it doesn't matter. Wouldn't it be even more fitting? Jay. Okay, it doesn't matter, but pin somebody. Would it be more fitting that Seth Rollins comes in at the end?
Oh, yeah.
To cash in? Maybe if it's okay, I say he pins Jay. I say Jay gets pinned. Just for arguments purposes. I have no idea who's gonna get pinned, but just for arguments purposes.
Okay.
Cena pins Jay, rah rah. Jay's on the mat. Cena's music's hitting. You hear burn it down. Jay's on the mat. Cena's raising his title. He looks over. He gives a quick smile to Seth because it could be whatever. He's liking what he's seeing. And then that's how it's done. I like it, so I'm gonna go with it.
Alrighty.
That's how I'm feeling. We're changing up how we do our predictions now, because after the AEW Double or Nothing, where you went to Sweep City, that was tough. No, you didn't go. I'm sorry. No, you got one wrong, but I got.
Yeah, but
you got. I got 3 wrong. You got 1. Whatever. Because we both. I didn't. Yeah. Anyways, Moving on. Becky and Lyra Valkyria for the women's intercontinental title match. This one, it's Becky Lynch.
Becky's
It
gotta
needs
win.
to be Becky Lynch.
Because if that's not what happens, there's no reason for this to continue. I mean, I don't think that it has to necessarily continue, but I do think if we're trying to elevate Lyra to like a new stratosphere in the WWE, then it makes sense for her to still be connected to Becky in a way after this. And if you take the title or you keep the title on her, I worry about like what does she do after that? You know, like there's nothing set up for her after feuding with Becky. So that makes me worried that she would just like fall back into obscurity again. Whereas her losing the title to Becky keeps her connected to Becky for at least, you know, another PLE, while also we're hoping that we'll see Bayley inserted into this in some way so that she can be in this feud or she can be going after the title, or at least that she can be on the Evolution card.
Mm-hmm. This needs to be on the Evolution card. I agree with that. And the fact that this has been so good so far, you know what I mean? It doesn't need a reason to end. And Becky Lynch winning doesn't give it a reason to end it. It does the complete opposite.
Have
It gives
her
it a
win
reason
from
to continue.
cheating.
Exactly. That's
know?
That's
Yeah.
the whole point. Like she's going to win. That's right. Like she's going to win.
This is it's like one of the oldest tales of time in wrestling. When there's a feud, they flip-flop. It's like win, lose, win. This is Becky's turn to win. Because if she loses again to Lyra, there's no reason for Lyra to give her another match. So, and there's no reason to believe that Bayley's going to come back and she's going to come back as a heel. No, she's going to come back and want to feud with Becky. And it makes sense for this to be a triple threat Evolution. In my book.
I'm with you. I'm friggin' with you. It makes no sense for it. So I'm in. And then to wrap it up, just two quick things. WrestleMania 42 looks like it will be in Vegas. Per good friend John Alba,
who referenced Brian Alvarez.
All right. Well, you had this? You put this banner in.
Yeah. So there's been obviously a lot of rumors about what they were doing with WrestleMania 42 once they announced that they were not going to be doing it in New Orleans anymore, and everyone thought it was going to be in Vegas, but not a whole lot has been said about that. So we're just going off of what is being said from Brian Alvarez and take it for what it is, you know. But he is claiming that there was a lot of things that they needed to get through to solidify that WrestleMania could be in Vegas next year, because there were shows that were also planned at like the Allegiant Stadium and the other arenas that they were going to be using. But it appears that they might have worked that out as of this week. So it looks like it might be just a matter of time when they finally announce that WrestleMania 42 will be in Vegas. And I get that people are upset about it, because obviously there were people who, you know, live near New Orleans or live within like driving distance of New Orleans that were looking forward to going. And if it's going to be anywhere else, it's going to be far more expensive. So they're not happy about it. But at the same time, I'm just kind of like, people I feel like were complaining about Vegas being a bad host city for Mania, and I just didn't view it that way at all. Like, I feel like the rides to the arenas and stuff was not bad at all. Everything was within like 10 to 12 minutes from where you were staying, unless you stayed like super far off the strip, and we weren't on the strip, but we were like 2 minutes from the strip. And I think
we were as close as you could be to the strip.
Yeah.
I don't want to say we were not on it.
Well, I'm saying we didn't stay at like the Cosmo, you know, like
literally,
there.
but like we're a 30-second walk from the strip.
So I mean, I get that the prices were bad, so like that's not exciting, but I feel like as far as a host city goes, it's walkable, and it's a walkable city that's fun to look at because everybody is out at night. There's so many lights. There's so many places to go. There were so many places for watch parties. So like if you couldn't go to Mania because of those prices, okay, go to a watch party. Because that was fun too, because you're still around like a ton of fans, and that kind of makes up for the lack of Mania atmosphere.
We watched WrestleMania Night 1 with The Godfather.
I know,
Like,
and I bet
a
you
lot of wrestlers are gonna be doing that to make a cheap buck. Why do you think he did it?
and I bet you next year, if it really is in Vegas, the Hard Rock will do both nights this time.
Yes,
So
because the
it's
woman
like,
did say they fucked up. He didn't realize that it
mhm,
was a 2-night thing, which
yeah.
shame on you, first off. But
So
2,
like,
like, yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I don't have an issue with it. I don't know if I'm gonna go or not. We'll see. But like, I don't know. I feel like it's not a bad place. I feel like this is just there. Everyone has their own reason to complain about it, but I feel like because of the state of negativity surrounding WWE, it's just easy to complain about something like this. But I don't see Vegas as a bad idea. I get it's very TKO of them to do Vegas again. But I mean, for people who want to go to Mania and maybe they went to Mania 41, there were a lot of lessons that I'm sure you could have learned, like gotten from Mania 41 being there that you won't do again for 42. So, like, isn't that
Yeah.
also beneficial?
No, the only issue I have with it, and I'm still gonna have it, is pricing, and it's not
Yeah.
TKO, it's not WWE, it's Vegas. It's Vegas prices. Vegas is an expensive city, so I have an issue with that personally. But when it comes to a host city, no, it's not terrible. Okay, it's not a terrible host city. Everything you just said and more, with it. The only issue that I have with it is just more of a personal one, that WrestleMania should be a traveling act.
Mm-hmm.
It should be in a different state or place, because
See,
I'm for international, but every year it should switch up because that's what makes it the event that it is, very similar to the Super Bowl.
I see,
So,
like, I'm just embracing this right now because there are rumors that they want to have a WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. So
I would rather
I'm,
Vegas.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
I
I
would rather Vegas.
not going to complain that they are doing Las Vegas again because we could be talking about WrestleMania 43 from Saudi Arabia and nobody in their right mind is going there unless you already live there. So like I am not going to complain about it being in Vegas whatsoever because we don't know what the future looks like. And if it's just the biggest gripe we have is that they moved it from New Orleans to Las Vegas, that's fine. I'm not traveling like 5,000 miles to a country where I'm probably not safe just to go see WrestleMania when
No,
it's
that's
like,
a good
well, I
point.
complained about it being in Vegas, like you don't. And the thing is, too, is you don't have to go to WrestleMania. If Vegas is too expensive for you, but you love to do an annual trip to WrestleMania, you could choose to not go, or you could choose to go to Vegas, but like you decide that you aren't going to go to the actual PLE, like what
Yeah.
we did. And I wouldn't say that we didn't have a good time because we didn't go to Mania. Like we still went to SmackDown, NXT, and Raw. We still went to WWE World. I didn't feel like we missed out on anything because we weren't at Allegiant Stadium for the show.
No,
And
and
it
we sat
saved us
next
a
to the
ton of
guys.
money.
Yeah, no, we sat next to the guys at the T-Mobile shows, SmackDown,
Mhm.
NXT, and Raw after Mania, and they didn't. They said it was fun and all that, but they didn't. They said we didn't really miss out on a lot. Obviously, the stuff like in the arena, like when Stone Cold smashing that poor woman
Yeah,
and
but
missed his
like,
on ramp, but that's just stuff that you're gonna miss because you didn't go to the show and you didn't experience it live. But the same shit you saw is the same shit you're gonna see if you were sitting at home or
and that's the
at the
best
arena, and
seat
that's okay.
is
Oh, at
at
home is
home.
no,
You
yeah, I would much rather do a party like a watch party at
Yeah.
Hard Rock or host it myself.
Yeah.
In high school I used to host WrestleMania parties for my friends who didn't watch it, but it gave them something to do on a Sunday night. They weren't paying the $60 because
Mhm.
this was before WWE Network and streaming, where you had to
Mhm.
buy it on cable, and it was like it was a party. You had pizza, you had drinks, you had
Well,
a
and
comfy seat. Like I have leather chair. I have the leather seats down here, and people have them in their own man caves and living rooms and whatnot. The seats are stadium seats.
Mhm.
They're not comfortable.
Yeah.
They're not
Well,
comfortable.
it is
So
also not paying for Mania allows you to spend more money to maybe get better tickets for Raw, SmackDown, NXT. It allows you to spend more money to meet wrestlers if you want. It allows you to have more money to spend on merch. Like, it allows you to have money to go and do stuff in Vegas if you want to. like, because there's so many things that you can do there. Like, it saves you a lot of money. So, I mean,
Yes.
obviously the hope is that they will learn from what they did this year, but they did set records for how much money they, made this year. So I'm not
They're
saying
going to
that
every
that's
year.
going to happen. However, I still don't, I don't know. I don't think it's as big of a deal as people are making it out to be. And
Agreed.
that's coming from someone who could drive to Vegas, and I don't know if I'm going to. So we'll see.
We shall see. And a quick 1, 2, 3 count, because we have gone long with the topics and predictions. 1, quick Mad Libs. I called it one word, but Mad Lib seems more fitting. Sarah, finish the sentence. I haven't seen a blank match in a long time.
Ambulance match.
Boiler room brawl. I could not tell you the last time I saw an ambulance match. I mean, I could.
Oh,
Full
wait.
sentence. Sorry.
Wait.
Wow.
Did Dominic Mysterio have one?
No, he just came out in
Okay.
a cop
No, he
car.
came out in one.
In the cop
a
car with
cop
the whole
car.
thing. Yeah. That's what you're thinking, the sirens.
Yeah, so I could not tell you the last time that I
I
saw.
think it Braun Strowman and Roman were in it. That just sounds correct. That Braun Strowman
Or
and Roman were in
Bronson.
the
And yeah, no, it wasn't Bronson Reed.
I mean, Boiler Room Brawl, I legitimately think the last one was Big Boss Man versus Mankind. So
Or just on No Mercy on N64. I don't know.
that's just the backstage.
That's the last time I
smack
saw it.
mouth. They should bring that back. Maybe just call it something else. 2, just I was watching Cultaholic. I fucking love those guys. I love Cultaholic. And they've been doing the quizzes taken from another channel that I love, Stash Club, with their quizzes. Cultaholic put out their Ultimate Money in the Bank quiz. Sarah, I'm not gonna lie, I knew a lot, but there were questions that were very niche. Like, all right, I'll give you one, okay? Or I gave you one last night, excuse me, of how many Money in the Bank matches are there or have there been?
34.
It's 34. I was shocked. I said 32, but 34 sounds wild.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, you can't even just count, oh, well, there's been this many Money in the Bank pay-per-views. No, it started
Because
at
it happened at
WrestleMania.
Mania. And then they also added the women. So
That's
people
double.
forget about that too.
Do you know who created the concept?
Jericho?
Yes. Yes, Chris Jericho came up with the concept of Money in the Bank. And the last one that I wanted to ask you, because when I was watching this quiz, do you know how many failed cash-ins we've had? Because I got this wrong. I'll admit.
It's single digits, isn't it?
It is single digits. I'll give you that.
They just talked about this. Is it something like it's like 3 or 4? It's like something pretty
4.
small.
I said 4. It's not 4.
I
forgot 2.
Okay, I'll guess 7.
It's 6.
Okay, I was gonna say I knew that it wasn't very high because they were talking about like how many people have cashed in successfully and blah blah blah.
It was Cena, Sandow, Theory, Nikki ASH. Oh my God, there's 2 more. Braun Strowman,
Drew McIntyre.
I forgot about Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre.
What about Otis?
No, because Otis was not a failed cash-in. He just had it taken away.
Oh, okay. Well,
And tidbit, did you know that Mr. Kennedy got his Money in the Bank briefcase taken away because of injury? That whole story, how he had to give it up to Edge and all that.
mm-mm.
Oh shit! All right,
I didn't watch the
right.
podcast.
All right, well, 3. All right, I want to tell you that, but do you think that they could do Money in the Bank in professional sports? Here's my idea. Okay, so I've heard this before, and I'm reiterating it to you. At the end of each season, you have the playoff teams, and then you have a cusp team. Like, say that, all right, so say like you win the Money in the Bank if you're a sports team, whatever. Say, you're about to have to make the playoffs, whatever. Do you think that they could do like, I'm rambling here, but is there a possibility? I say yes.
No.
I say yes, there is one, but
No.
I would have to hash that out. But because I'm too focused on the Mr. Kennedy story to wrap up. Mr. Kennedy was injured. They said he tore his tricep. So whole plan, and listen to this on TV, that take the briefcase off him. Edge is going to win and take it off of Taker because Taker was also injured. So you take it off him. They fly him to Alabama, go to that doctor that they all go to. Finds out he didn't tear his tricep.
Oh lordy.
It was just like an inner injury that could heal in a few weeks, like maybe a month or so, fully, whatever. And they already took it off him. So he got screwed out of cashing Money in the Bank, and that would have launched him to be a star.
Doesn't surprise me though.
Which sucks because that dude they strapped a rocket to him.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Ken Kennedy, where's Mr. Anderson been? Like our chat guy, like he used to be here.
Oh, I don't know.
We haven't seen him in a while. But that's our Super Show. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back live tomorrow over on Ringside Rant. Go check that out. 8 o'clock, I think it is, or 9 o'clock standard. I don't even know the time. I'm going to say 9 o'clock. All right, it's going to be 9 o'clock because Bernard said come around 8:30, 8:40.
Mm-hmm.
So it means we are definitely going at 9 o'clock. Over on Stadium Rant's YouTube channel. Go check them out, Stadium Rant and Stadium Rant on X as well. Follow us on X at Patty Pitts and at SMarshXO, Instagram at Patty Pitts, and TikTok at No Nights Off Show. We are 980 followers, so subscribers. So go get us 20 more. 20 more to 1,000, guys. 20 more to 1,000.
I think it's 18 now, but yeah.
Hell yeah. Good shit. So keep that going. And oh yeah, hit subscribe. And that bell notification to know every time we go live. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember, you can do it. All you gotta do is try. We'll see you next time.